The 19% tariff on Philippine exports to the U.S. is now locked in for now, a clear hit to our trade-driven economy. As that shock ripples through the economy, a game changer is unfolding here at home, the Capital Market Efficiency Promotion Act, or CMEPA. That's kicked in, slashing stock transaction taxes and scrapping minimum broker fees. So with trade under pressure and trading costs at record lows, where can equities outperform? Which sectors will have the upside? And what has to go right for this market to reprice higher? Joining us now is Francis Diaz, the president and co-founder of Luna Securities. Hi, Francis. Thanks for being here with us.
Congratulations on your Business and Excellence Award, I heard.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Francis. All right, let's get to it. So far, we've got that 19% UF tariff. Some say it's a done deal. Some say it's still open for negotiation. In any case, at 19%, how does that shift your base case for equities? Does it change anything much, especially that we are a consumer-driven and an import-driven economy?
I think you pretty much nailed it on the head. We personally feel that it'll be impactful for sure. There will be an impact, but I don't think it'll really shift anything as regards to the equity space. You mentioned we're primarily a country that buys from abroad, processes stuff here, and sells to ourselves. Yeah. So I think we're pretty insulated in that regard.
Okay, so, good to hear, comforting. So in that case, you guys are very digital based. One of the newest kids on the block in this brokerage space. Yes. A lot of your dealings with clients are just really digital, so not really face to face. Any hesitations, any worries from them about everything that's going on?
From the customers I've spoken to, there are concerns as regards to the larger economy, but we've done our best to inform users as regards to what really matters. There's a lot of information, there's a lot of disinformation, and we've pretty much informed them that tariffs are more for export-based economies. Since we are primarily an import-driven economy, consumer-driven economy, I think there's less jitters than larger perhaps platforms would have us believe.
On another front, Francis, the topic of CMEPA. It's great for the market. It took effect in July, this July. It's really for the retail investors and to put us along the lines of our Asian peers. Right. What are your thoughts on CMEPA and how can it help, price our market higher?
Right. So firstly, I want to applaud BNC. I think I was watching an explainer by Sujin Kim, one of your reporters, recently. There's been a lot of disinformation regarding CMEPA, but ultimately, I think it's a good thing. Less friction costs are much better ultimately for the consumer, for the user. In the case of the stock market, apps such as ourselves. So definitely, we feel that that's something that's important, and it also puts us on par with regional peers, except for I think Singapore, which does not have a sales transaction tax, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's great. It levels the playing field and provides a lot of incentive for current traders to keep on trading, because there's going to be less costs for them and an easier way for them to sort of hurdle their costs and in their trades. Yeah,
speaking of incentives and less costs, you guys launched Luna Securities about a year and a half ago. Walk us through Luna's dynamic pricing, 0.2% down to 0.1%. What's the early behavioral response you're seeing? Of course, low base because you're new, but we have to put that on the table.
Right.
But what's the behavioral response you're seeing to this dynamic pricing?
So, we've been seeing obviously more signups into our app. We've also had higher levels of trading volume. I think I want to say the veteran user, but users who know what the costs are now understand that with our type of pricing, I think with around 1 to 1.2% gain, you can already make money. Versus before, I think it was closer to 1.6%, 1.8%. So with our pricing, it's very important. It's a core tenet of ours that we provide discounts for higher volumes. For the longest time, institutional accounts enjoyed that because they have larger volumes. And so we feel to level the playing field for the little guy, so to speak, it's very, very important that you allow them, the benefit of being able to trade with velocity as well.
And that's what you're doing. You're giving the retail investors the platform to trade with velocity. What insights can we learn about your market, the retail investor, based on what you're seeing on the ground?
Well, for one thing, they watch costs. I think it's very important. And one of the, I think, important takeaways here is that it's very important to meet the user where they are. So like one of the things that we've done is really be a mobile, primarily a mobile platform. So our app was really built for the mobile use. We're 10th in smartphone penetration in the world. So it's very, very important. We also have focused a lot on the user experience. We really feel that users need to be familiar. So we actually aped a lot of apps out there that Filipinos are familiar with. I won't mention those apps, you know. But when we were doing our initial testing, users immediately felt like another app. So, which is very important to just break down barriers.
Fantastic, great strides breaking down barriers. But lower fees alone, let's be real, that's not going to drive depth. What do we need to deepen our capital markets?
Okay, so there's quite a number. First of all, lower fees, fantastic. I cannot stress that enough. But education, inclusion, technology, digitalization, these are very, very important. But if we're going to talk about, let's talk about reforms first. So I think we had commission liberalization last year, which is what our dynamic scheme is all about. That's one. Second, we had tax reform in terms of the sales tax change this year. Very important, I think next step is board lot reform. So board lots are a function of an older time when things needed to be streamlined because everything was on paper.
Where does that need to be now?
So it needs to be broken down. Users should be able to buy PLDT with 50 pesos. So you can buy crypto for $10, $15. So
fractional ownership,
we should be able to create sort of a way for Filipinos to buy stocks, even the largest companies, at a smaller ticket price, I suppose.
Yeah, that would definitely perk up activity. Speaking of the broader market, we normally ask analysts and people in the market for their year-end target for the PSE index. I know you don't like year-end targets in particular. You rather talk about where you think the market should be. Right now, we're at 6,400, about 6,428. Where do you think we should be by the end of this year?
By the end of this year, I think, well, first of all, I want to preface by saying that it's very guessy.
Yeah,
so please don't hold me to it.
Yes, of course.
All right.
Of course.
But we feel that the market should be trading at around 7.7. That's where we think the market should be.
Yeah.
But by the end of the year, given where we are, like on a technical basis, I would think closer to maybe 6.8, maybe 7,000 if we're able to get out of the doldrums. But ultimately, just for the people out there, there's opportunity. 7.7 is a number that can happen in the next maybe like 18, 24 months.
Hopefully.
There is something there.
Okay, what would be the macro assumptions baked into that view?
So definitely, I think we're looking at 2 rate cuts at the minimum for the year. 25, if I'm not mistaken, with our team's ideas. That'll also depend a lot on how Fed Chair Powell goes. I mean, I know he's been watching closely. Hi, sir. Maybe he watches this program as well. But definitely, that's baked in. I think cooler inflation is baked into that. I think I know GDP growth has been a hot topic.
Yeah, been revised lower. Yeah. Expectations are about 5.6% for some. Yeah.
But that's not a bad number. Like from a regional and a global perspective, it's not exactly the worst number. We're still growing. And our country still has great demographics, young population, earning population. So,
Speaking of growth, what are your sector picks, top 3 picks for the next 12 to 18 months, and why?
So, sector, we like consumer. We've always been big on the consumer economy. It's something that is really a main driver of the economy. Infrastructure, we feel that it's something that the country needs and that will be a key focus for the administration as well as for major business powers out there. And so those two are our main primary focuses at the moment.
Okay, you mentioned infrastructure, so I need to bring this up. Aboitiz Infra, BlackRock buying 40% stake in Aboitiz Equity Ventures Infra Arm. How do you think this is going to vote? I mean, AEV was already a buy to begin with.
Yes.
Is this reaffirming?
Absolutely. So I think that is one of the things that people are forgetting on the tariff end. So we may have, I don't want to say lost the deal. That sounds bad, but we may have not gotten what we wanted on the tariff end. But definitely, it seems like we're bringing home some other deals.
Yes.
Reciprocity is something that happens in many levers, right?
Yeah, our president is going to be bringing home the bacon on that end, and this is one of them. The Aboitiz infra deal. It's very exciting.
Yes. So no terms as of yet. We don't know if it's primary, whether it's secondary. But definitely, it's a vote of confidence.
Exactly. Yes, BlackRock, nonetheless.
They do their numbers, they do their homework, and it seems like and definitely, deals like that will redound to the stock market ultimately.
Yeah. Okay. Another question we wanted to ask. The State of the Nation address is just around the corner, Monday, July 28th. The president, in the former State of the Nation addresses, didn't really touch on the capital markets. What would you like to hear from him this time around in 2025? Yeah,
I'd like to find out what the plans are for capital markets. So I understand that there are a lot of important things that need to be discussed. There's a person talking about the country for a couple of hours. There's not a lot of time. But we would like to hear what the plans are, whether there's maybe plans for more tax-related reforms as to the capital markets, perhaps some digitalization efforts, things like that. So, Mr. President, don't forget the capital markets. I understand that there are a lot of other priorities, but definitely it should also be a priority because Filipinos are starting to turn into savers and major savers at that.
Yeah, and we want them to become investors in the stock market as well.
Sure.
All right. Base case for the market. What might break a bullish case for the PSE index right now? What are the headwinds that we need to watch out for? What are the things that might limit participation?
I think if geopolitical risks start to break down again, I think we've had a relative calm, like geopolitically, as of late. So if things break down outside our borders, that'll definitely affect us. It'll affect the currency. It might affect inflation if oil price starts to destabilize again. So things of that nature. I think as a country, we are okay in terms of our own numbers. But if things break down outside, unfortunately, we're very, very weak to things like that.
Yeah. And lastly, before I let you go, I just want to ask, apart from Aboitiz Equity Ventures, what are the stocks that you would buy today?
We also like San Miguel Food and Bev. It's been it's a stock that is trading at, I think, 11, 12 times versus peers at 16, as high as 26, I believe, for others. And we also like one pick is DNL. So I know that they are exposed to exports, but we really like what the facility, their Dung Batangas facility is doing for them in terms of margins, in terms of volumes, and they are actually a very low-key way to buy the Philippine economy because they provide services to all the major companies that provide services to the Filipinos.
Absolutely. The Laos are doing a great job. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Francis, of Luna Securities. It was really great speaking to you about this.
Excellent.